What happened?
We were hiring a bunch of helpers, people that didn't have a lot of experience to train, and they went into a house with a customer that we were trying to win over, and we were stripping wallpaper in their master bathroom. And typically we have a foreman on the job and works out where restroom we use. Well, this young man decided he was going to use the bathroom he was working in.
Mm.
And he had a stomach pain and decided to use the restroom. And all of a sudden the door flies open and there he is. And there's the homeowner looking at him.
Oh, how did that go down?
These are mistakes
Yeah.
these are things you learn from.
Yeah. Yes.
I can remember going on a Sunday to unclog a toilet because the homeowners were positive that my guys used their facilities and caused a problem.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Those moments that your heart just drops and you break out into a sweat.
Yeah.
Not good.
Not good. Okay. Well, before we get any further, today's guest is from Richmond, Virginia. Owns and operates HJ Holtz and Son Painting and Wallpapering. Rick Holtz, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Steve. It's a pleasure.
Now, when was HJ Holtz and Son Painting and Wallpapering first started? What year?
Started back in 1936 by my grandfather.
By your grandfather. Could you
My
take
grandfather was Herman Holtz.
Herman Holtz. Okay.
Yes.
What's the story? How did he get started?
His father was a wallpaper installer in the Chicago area. Something happened. I don't know all the details. They moved to Richmond, Virginia. And I don't know if my great-grandfather actually hung wallpaper here or if just my grandfather continued to trade here. But we had a lot of rental apartments. And, today when people move into a new rental apartment, they put a fresh coat of paint on it. Back in the day, in the 30s, they put a fresh layer of wallpaper on the walls. And it wasn't high-end residential wallpaper like we think of today. And that's what my grandfather started doing. And then as wallpaper kind of went out of, not style, because it really wasn't up for style, it was more functional in rental apartments. They wanted him to paint. So he started painting too. And that's how the company was born.
In the 30s. Okay. So
Late
this
30s.
is.
Yeah. And there was a little
30s.
hiatus during the war where he was a welder, but then he picked right back up in it.
Picked right back up. Okay. Got going. And this was in Richmond.
Yes. Always been in Richmond.
Always been in Richmond. Okay. So what's the story from there? So late 30s, he gets going. He hires some guys, expands. What does that look like?
Yeah. And then after World War II is when I think the painting part really took off. And my grandfather, as my dad would say, would paint anything.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't a high-end residential contractor. He painted anything that needed paint.
Okay.
And, one of the first users of an airless spray gun. I mean, he was into gadgets and that sort of stuff. And so they did commercial work. They did residential work. They did whatever he could do to make money. And my grandfather was in an automobile accident in the 50s, and it was pretty serious. He was in the hospital for over a month. My father had just gotten out of the Army, wasn't really sure he was going to get into the business.
Okay.
But he was thrown into it because my grandfather had a viable business and he could not run it. So my father jumped in. Some of the other contractors in Richmond taught my dad how to estimate and kind of keep the business going for my grandfather to get better. And when my grandfather got better, they worked together until I was born in the early 70s, 1971.
What year was this that your father jumped in?
50-something.
50-something. Okay. And so
yeah,
he gets in and he helps him develop the business. So other contractors came around your father and helped him.
Yeah, Richmond's kind of interesting. We have a lot of multi-generational family painting businesses still today. And they've been around forever and they're still here. And we're one of them.
Okay. Third generation.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what year did you come on board and how did that come about?
I came on board full-time in 1995. I graduated from college in 1993. Had a degree in public administration, worked for the Commonwealth of Virginia I was signed to a year contract where I had full benefits. And then after a year, they didn't renew our contract, but they wanted to keep me. So I was, they call it a P14 employee. So I could only work a certain number of hours in a year and I got no benefits.
Oh.
And being a young person just trying to make money, I did whatever I could. So I worked for the state Monday through Thursday, and I painted for my father on Fridays. And finally, it got to the point where my grandfather said, "Rick, what are you doing?" And I said, "What do you mean, what am I doing?" He said, "What are you doing with your life?" I said, "I'm just trying to figure it out, Grandpa." He says, "It's right there." He says, "Go to work for your dad. He'll let you do whatever you want to do with this business. And he's ready for somebody to help him. And you can do whatever you want." I said, "Mom and Dad are going to be happy. I went to college not to become a painter." And he said, "You're not going to be a painter." He said, "You're going to run a business." And I can still see him talking to me, hanging kind of in his doorway of his house, and I was in his driveway.
Wow.
And
what year was this?
That was 95.
That was 95. And about what size was the company at that point?
My dad had 6 employees and grossed around, I don't know, just shy of $400,000 a year.
Okay. So we're
6 employees in the field, and my dad and my mom ran the business.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you say, "Okay, Grandpa, let's do it."
Yeah. So I met with my dad first, and he said, "Your mother's never going to go for this." So we started making a list of the pros and the cons, and then we met with her, and she wasn't happy about it. And she said, "Okay, let's give it a shot." And it was the best thing that ever happened to the 3 of us. I needed them, they needed me. It worked out perfect.
Why wasn't your mother happy about it?
Well, because she thought that if she was of the generation, her and my father didn't go to college, and they wanted better lives for their kids.
Yeah.
They ran the business out of our home.
Mm-hmm.
They had a shop behind my grandfather's house. The story I tell everybody is, at dinner, we prayed that the phone would ring and that my dad would have work so that we'd have money to do all the things that families want to do. I had 4 older sisters, so it was 5 of us. It was a large family.
Yeah.
That was before let's have a marketing plan and all,
Oh, yeah.
Your business grew based on your reputation. But my dad wanted to keep the business. He wanted to keep it small. He didn't want a large business. He wanted to be able to have a business that took care of his family and helped him have the lifestyle that he wanted. And that was good enough.
So you had the conversation and it was agreed you would come on.
Yes.
What did that look like?
Well, what it looked like, what it was supposed to be and what it ended up were 2 different things. Dad said, "I want you to work on the cruise for a certain amount of time, and then I'm going to teach you estimating." It was going to be very methodical, kind of how I went through the different stages of business. But what I ended up doing pretty much right off the bat was running the guys. I became the field supervisor.
Now that can be dangerous.
And Dad wanted to really just do estimating. He enjoyed meeting with clients. He enjoyed, doing that part of it. He did not enjoy the interaction and supervising the employees. He thought he was too nice. And he was. Very generous man.
Yeah. How did the painters respond to boss's son coming in and bossing them around?
Didn't like it at all.
Ooh, so.
Oh yeah, I thought we were going to have fist fights out in people's front yards, and it's my way or the highway. And out of the 6 of them, within the first 2 or 3 years, I'd say 4 of them left.
Okay. So
or 3 of them left. 3 of them left.
Okay. So 3 of them left. Okay. So what did you do moving forward? You come in as a supervisor. Did you learn the trade?
I had been working in the summers since I was 13 years old.
Okay. Yeah.
So by the time I was, 24, I had worked a lot of summers and I had been exposed. And when I worked in the summers, I worked out on crews. I didn't drive around or do that kind of stuff. So I had a fair amount of field experience for what we needed at the time.
So moving forward, you come on as a supervisor, you get going a couple more years. What does it look like from there? At what point does your involvement increase and you start to think about expanding? And
well, it was kind of interesting because as as the years went on, my goal was, my dad, like I said, there's a lot of painters in the Richmond area. My dad was relatively small, and I'd heard his challenges and heard about what his friends were doing for a long time. And I knew we were good, and I wanted everybody to know how good HJ Holtz was. So I just met people, and I said yes to everything, and we grew and we grew and we grew. And from 95 to 2008, by the time 2008 rolled around, we were over a $3 million company.
By 2008.
Yeah. So we went from not even a $500,000 company to a $3 million company in 13 years, 10 years, 13 years.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And that was in 08. What's it looking like today? How many guys do we have out in the field, and what are we projected for this year?
We're about 60 people in the field.
60 in the field.
60 in the field, and we're gonna come close to 5 million.
5 million.
But back then, when we first became $1 million company, I mean, it was controlled chaos.
How do you mean?
It was like I was running multiple individual businesses. There was no, there was no policies, no procedure, no structure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was like dealing with 12 different business owners. Everybody had their own style. Everybody did their own thing. If you switched employees from one crew to another, they were confused because they didn't do it all the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Different leads came in with different experience, and they'd been doing it that way for 30 years. And
I was just trying to just hold on to just getting the work done, that I never was able to get above the tree line and really look at the overall picture.
How'd you handle that? What did you do to get it all under one system?
Well, I hired a job coach for one.
Yeah.
I just got to the point where after 2008, the economy kind of crashed, and I had a good sized crew, and I'm like, what am I going to do? I bought the business from my dad.
Okay.
And, he had been in the business for a long time, and it was winter.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people from the north go to Florida for the winter, and him and my mom wanted to go to Florida. So they did. So I was alone, basically.
Okay.
What am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I decided I needed help. I needed somebody to be objective. I needed somebody to hold me accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that wasn't emotionally tied to this family business.
Okay.
And it was helpful. Very helpful.
What were some of the changes that you made, and some things that you implemented to start to shift?
Well, the first thing that I had to deal with, which is really interesting with a family business, is I realized, and I didn't really know it until I talked with someone else, was that I was running my dad's company. And my dad's model was a very small company, and I was trying to run a very large company as if it was small. And that was hard.
Mm-hmm.
It was really hard. And then, so I had to identify what does Rick Holtz's company look like?
And just
what
for
is Rick Holtz's version?
So you were running a $3 million company that was set up as a $500,000 company.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That worked really well for my dad, but it wasn't working well for this size company,
Okay. So once we realized that, what are some of the changes that we made moving forward after 08?
Well, being more deliberate with different parts of your business and finding owners to own those parts of the business. Planning, projecting.
Mm-hmm.
What do I want to do in a year? Not, how did my year end up?
Yeah.
Forward thinking.
Yeah.
Getting out of some of the day-to-day reactionary behaviors that we all get involved with in a paint business, and finding owners to own the field, to own marketing, to own the financial part.
Okay.
Because I feel like as owners, once you get to a certain level, you can't survive and lead a healthy lifestyle if you can't rely on other people.
Can't rely on other people.
And some people, and that's fine. Some people want to run a company like that, but you can't be a certain size and do that.
What are some steps that, cause you're right, this is a big challenge. What are some steps that you guys did you did to either find reliable people or to go ahead and start trusting people to be reliable, to take ownership and to step away, right? To put down the Superman complex of
Yes.
that we have to solve everything, right? This is something we all had to go through.
Yes.
And to trust them.
I think you got to accept the mindset that it's not always going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to go through multiple people, and I did. And when looking back, I think about where I am now, and I think about all the names and faces that were part of that transition that are no longer here. And they played an important role because you start knowing what you don't want, the type of people that you can't depend on. We started with friends of friends and referrals, and it all comes through people that were already here. And that's really how the network of who we have here today kind of worked out. So it's been an interesting journey when you look back, because I don't think of myself as being in business as long as I have. It seems quick. Yeah. But you gotta be persistent. If you get burned by one person, you can't give up. You got to say, why? What can I do differently with the next person? What do I need to ask? What do I need to think about? And I'm a big proponent of hiring within. If you have people that you can progress through your company to take leadership positions, I think it's a great thing to do.
What does leadership training look like in your company?
Well, it kind of goes back. You got to go backwards a little bit. What does HJ Holtz Sons look like? What are the keys to HJ Holtz Sons? And for us, it's all trusting each other, our customers trusting us, and by us being a team and trusting each other, we can give the customers that peace of mind. Mm-hmm. They want us back, and we make money, and it goes in a circle. So leadership training to us means kind of following that path, being a mentor, keeping your word, making commitments and sticking with them. Don't make commitments, under promising, over delivering. Mm-hmm. Those sorts of things.
Okay. Culture. Would you say that there's been a shift in culture from the 08 $3 million company that we were still running, like your father's $500,000 company, to the 60 guys today pushing close to 5 million?
Yeah, it's not about Rick Holtz.
How do you mean?
I don't know. It's interesting. If you get in a room full of contractors, you talk to them about their businesses, and if they talk about their business as an I or as in a we, and it's kind of interesting. I went from an I to a we. Yeah. I painted that. I worked for that person. To we did that. We worked for those people. We worked for those. Within the last 2 years, I've really kind of come to this idea that the reason I do what I do and I'm driven is because I enjoy developing people and the people that are on our team. That's my number one driving factor. And I think that if I do that and I do that well, we're going to be successful and we're going to make a profit.
So we're in the people development business.
I really kind of realized that's what gets me excited, and that's what keeps me coming back.
That's awesome. Anything specific that you can share that you guys do?
We spend money on our employees. We invest in our employees. I just had 3 wallpaper installers that, got back from Denver. Mm-hmm. They were gone for a whole week to learn about different skills, different tricks that they would never learn on their own here through sharing. You got to invest in people. A lot of us, I think most contractors say employee training is something they wish they could do more of. I wish I could do more of it. But when there is training that you can, like that, spend money and send them there, that's an investment. That's not an expense. Mm-hmm. So those sorts of things are really important to us. Mm-hmm. I just think it makes people feel good about the place they work.
I like that. And maybe we've already covered it, but what's been a paradigm shift for you to break through and reach this level?
I think to get to this level, wait a minute, sorry, my light went off. I think it goes back down to trust, is trying to trust people, give them a clear path of what you expect from them, hold them accountable, but not just hold them accountable, continue to coach them and give them feedback and help them improve. You know, it's easy for me to say you're in charge of the field, and then if something in the field doesn't work right, it's your fault.
Mm-hmm.
And just shake your finger at them like you think, you know, a drill sergeant to be.
Mm-hmm.
But that's only half of it. You need to look at it as a learning experience so they can continue to get better. And I think that's another huge part of our business is continual improvement. You know, I was talking to my field supervisor today. We went to lunch. It's interesting how the better you get, the better you want to be. Does that make sense?
To me, absolutely. But would you unpack it for everybody else, please?
You identify 5 or 6 things in your business that you know you need to improve on.
Mm-hmm.
And you're thinking, man, if I can just get through that list, we'll have it made. And you get through that list, and then all of a sudden you see 5 or 6 more things that you want to do. Mm-hmm. To me, that's, and you've improved, and you've improved to the point where you're now at a different level. You're looking through different eyes. You see even more things that you know you can do. Mm-hmm. It's exciting. That's an exciting thing to me. That gets me excited. It gets the people around me excited, as opposed to, you know, we can't make a mistake or that's a problem, and it's just all negative stuff. Negative. We don't want that.
Rick, I'd like to circle back something real quick. You mentioned, I think, has a lot of value, and you said you give them a clear path. How important is it to let them know what your expectations are so that they know what to hit?
Well, the other thing is they help in our company, we all define our expectations together. You know, we have a kickoff meeting every year of what we want the year to look like. We look at what we accomplished the year before, what we want to accomplish in the next year, and how do we get from there, from where we've been to where we need to go. We do that as a group. We don't do that as me telling them this is what you have to do. And it gives them a sense of ownership. And now we're all running this company called HJ Holtz Sons, not just Rick Holtz.
We're back to the we.
Yeah, it's so important to me.
Mm-hmm. When the team's together, the company, and you're talking and you're going over where you are and where you want to be, what are some other KPIs that they throw out there? I mean, obviously there's top line, but there's so much more to a company, to grow in a company than that. What are some other goals, KPIs that they're looking to move the needle on as we shoot for the next level?
Well, there's customer satisfaction for the crews, for the crew leads. You know, they're meeting on a weekly basis with the field supervisor, and they're getting feedback on what they're doing all the time.
Do you have any systems or processes in place to track that and simplify the customer feedback process?
They give cards to the customers at the end of the job to get the reviews, and they know that they need the reviews because it's going to only make them look better. Yeah. You know, basically, if they're out there in the field doing paint jobs, there's 2 things. You want your customer to be happy, and you want to know that you made money on the job. Well, we do job cost reports on every job, so we know that.
On every job.
Yeah, and we go over that as a group with everybody. And it was interesting because for the first year that we did that, it was very quiet. But now there's a lot of conversation when we go over those jobs because they share with each other, oh, you probably didn't do well on that job because of this or because of that. And now they're helping each other learn from each other's mistakes, which is powerful.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. What's something, those out there, what are 2 or 3 things that you would recommend or that you see most companies are missing the ball on when it comes to building a stronger team and elevating their culture?
Go over with them how the company makes money and how they can make a difference in that process.
Whoa. Hold on, Rick. He's opened the books
Pretty much, yes.
with everybody.
Because if you're out on a job site and you're working for paint company A,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't know the big picture of how this company measures success, how can you make a difference? Just keep working harder every day? Hey, I'm here every day and I'm painting. I got to be making a difference.
Yeah.
Right? I don't believe in that. This is how we make money. We have costs to do business. We have expenses. They come out of what we make. Okay? Where can the people in the field save? They can save dollars in the way they perform their job. Where does that money go? For every dollar they save, where does it go? How many people out there work for companies know that it goes right down to profit? Probably not many.
Not many. Yeah.
Now, do they know how much Rick Holtz makes or how much each person in the office makes individually? No. But they have all the expenses there and they know and understand how it operates. Because the first kickoff meeting we had, when I asked all the employees, what is the number one purpose of you being here? And it wasn't to make money. It wasn't to make the company money. That's a problem. It's to please the customer. Well, yes, it is to please the customer, but at what expense? To do a good job. Well, yes, because we don't want to go back and redo jobs. But you see what I'm saying? And we do that over and over and over and over again.
Help us understand. So you're in Richmond, Virginia, 60 guys. You're building this culture. What type of work are you doing?
We're doing mainly, I guess you would say, residential repaint is our bread and butter.
It is. So even with 60 guys, your bread and butter, your target market are res repaints.
Yes. And then we're doing a fair amount of work with some renovation contractors, but not a lot.
Okay.
And now we're dabbling in a little bit of the commercial repaint market.
Okay.
I don't want to get involved in a lot of new construction, whether it be residential or commercial. I just don't feel, it works for a lot of people, but I don't feel comfortable with that.
Sure. No, I agree with you there.
I think it gets away from where we're successful. We do well with people. We do well with end users, not with process, not with just fitting in a process of a construction of a building or a home.
More relational than contractual.
Very much so. I mean, that's our whole goal is we want the people we work for to rely on us and build relationships with us and with our people so that they see them over and over. And they, it's not just they want Holtz back. They want Oscar back. They want Kenny back. They want Patrick back. And it's relationships because that person knows you and they're going to continue to buy from you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Rick, what are some books that have made the biggest impact on you, your life, your business, and your team?
Well, I mean, everybody, I think the one that everybody talks about is the E-Myth. For me early on is like I said, I felt like I was running a bunch of different companies that were doing things different. I had to systemize some of that. And that was huge back then. Another one that kind of had an impact to me was a book called Built to Last. We had a bunch of different companies that I think of in the Virginia, Richmond area that were really great companies. One was Circuit City, which was an electronics store that's in Built to Last. They don't exist anymore, right? And that's kind of a big deal to me. If a company that big cannot exist anymore, what do I need to do steering HJ Holtz Sons so that it continues to exist? Because I always thought of it as if it can happen to a big boy like that, it could certainly happen to somebody like me. And then you hear all the statistics about generational businesses, how the failure rate just goes up with each generation that comes in. So what can we do and what can I do to make sure that this company continues to exist and thrive? So that was another big one. Then the one I think the past few years that's really made a huge impact on me is Ownership Thinking by Brad Hams.
Don't know that one. Ownership Thinking by Brad Hands.
Hams, like ham, Hams.
Okay.
That book is basically kind of talks a lot about how we run our business, kind of opening up the books to your employees and giving them ownership in the business. And we have an incentive program that they talk about in that business so that, the employees, not only do they make a difference, but they find out that it's something in it for them, which is can be financial reward, which I think is really powerful stuff because, how can we ask employees to take ownership and do more and try to solve problems in a business that they're not going to benefit from some way, somehow?
Okay. Ownership thinking. Very good. Thank you. Tech. What does your tech stack look like in running and keeping a 60-man company streamlined, profitable?
We're pretty dark ages.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
I mean, we use QuickBooks. We use T-Sheets as like the groundbreaking thing for us. We've been on T-Sheets for 2 years and it's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge for us. We're still challenged with communication with everybody because obviously we're a large group.
Sure.
We use GroupMe and that sort of thing. I have a hard time with technology because I'm more of a people person. I want it to be easy. And I feel like so much technology, you've got to put so much effort into it to get what you want.
Sure.
So I'm jealous of people that it just is second nature to them.
Okay. All right. Well, we all have strengths and jealousies, I guess.
Yes, we do. We do. It's like if I could have a little of that person, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Yes. Well, Rick, I want to thank you for your time. Before we roll out of here, is there a question I should have asked or a final point you'd like to make?
I think my biggest point that I just want to get across is don't ignore those people that work for you. And not as in just giving them handouts. It's not about handouts.
Yeah.
People want to feel like they make a difference. And I think that was a hard thing for me to understand. I felt like they just always wanted more money and do less work. But I think the people that are out there working for all of us want to do a good job. But 9 times out of 10, they don't know what that looks like.
Because we haven't communicated clear
expectations. Because we've never communicated, what that means.
Absolutely.
And once you can do that, you're going to lose some people, and some people you're going to realize just don't fit. But I really think that you're going to achieve success if you can do that.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Well, Rick, thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming on the show.
You're welcome. Thanks, Steve. Take care, bud.
Bye now.
Bye.